boy. Oh, boy. We're super excited because today we have the one and only Tommy Schultz on the show. Man, oh, man, if you don't know the name, you will, because his first ever role was in Killers of the Flower Moon. That's
Yes.
right. I mean, how do you hit a home run the first time out, right? I mean, working with the one and only Martin Scorsese the first time you ever
Yes.
step on a film set.
Yes. And wasn't even in the game plan. Didn't he? Was never on the radar. Has the wife to thank for it. I mean, this is such an amazing story of old school, new school, not my dream, is my dream now kind of it's just an amazing story when you hear him tell it, and you can't help but be inspired by it, man. It's insane.
It really is. It really is. I'm super excited for everybody to listen to that interview because it really is truly inspiring. Like you said, it's an amazing thing. And this guy came from a completely different background, so I'm so freaking pumped for that. But
Yes.
that's later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. Hello, everyone. So you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the three biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching nonstop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, we're back in action
Yes.
with episode 257. Of course, you know your host with the most, myself, JLo Fantastic, and the one and only Mao.
What's up?
Man, oh man, it's been an amazing week. We are filmmakers ourselves, so we have had a great week with the casting process of our film, staying very busy with that. But man, oh man, I did finally able to squeak in some time to watch the new Franklin show on Apple TV Plus. I'll say it's interesting for sure. I definitely want to keep watching a couple more episodes to see what happens with it.
Yeah.
But what about you? Have you tried out any new content this week?
Any new content this week? No, but the one that keeps popping up on me is the one that Robert Downey Jr.'s new one, where he's kind of like that spy kind of.
Yeah.
That
Is
one
that
keeps
the Sympathizer.
the Sympathizer.
Like
so I think I'm jumping on that one. I've got a show that just ended. And we'll talk about which show that was, and it was an epic ending, but that's maybe later on in the top 5. But now that one's over, I've got space for another one to jump on, so I think I am going to try the Sympathizer. It's just, looks pretty good, looks interesting.
For sure, man, for sure. And before teasing the rest of the show, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast. Comment below and tell us what you actually think about the show. Because if you didn't know, leaving a rating on the podcast actually helps the podcast get seen by more people who enjoy entertainment news, but especially those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry. Because, man, there is a lot going down in Hollywood that we're super excited to talk about. I mean, the new Deadpool Wolverine trailer came out, and boy, oh boy, we're like chomping at the bit just to talk a little bit about that.
There is so much in that trailer that if you're a comic book fan, you know what I'm talking about. But, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but Levy says you don't have to be. And you're going to be okay. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And we have a Smallville reunion. What am I talking about? What do you mean Smallville reunion? Well, a couple of stars are reuniting, but it's not for Smallville. We'll talk all about that. That's going to be really cool. We got so much stuff. Rosemary's Baby's coming back. What? Maybe a prequel to tell us how to get so much crazy stuff. I mean, and more casting about Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler's new film. Just woo! I can't wait to get into it. It's gonna be a good show.
All the good things, man. All the good things. Your one-stop shop, the #1 entertainment podcast, right here at ITCAFpodcast.
Yes.
But man, oh man, before jumping into it, be sure to head over to our website www.crazyantmedia.com where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We have some very special gifts for you right now. Mother's Day is right around the corner, so be sure to check out our Mother's Day designs that we have available on our website. And if you follow us at Crazy Ant Media or at ITCAFpodcast, you'll be able to stay up to date with the promotional sales that we have going on as well.
Facts.
I mean, you want to make sure you get your mother that right gift, and you can find it on our website. That's for sure. That's for sure. But we're super excited about today's show. It's going to be a lot of fun with a lot of good commentary. And man, oh man, of course, we start off with the Juggernaut itself, Disney, the Mouse House, all the good things. Our favorite. We try to be a little biased, but are non-biased, but we kind of are.
We are.
But Marvel's favorite frenemies are back in the second trailer for the highly anticipated Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, the third installment of the Deadpool series of films. This time, Deadpool and Wolverine fight like bloody hell to the tune of Madonna's Like a Prayer, which fits perfectly for the trailer, I must say. And the threequel stars Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and brings back the one and only Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, who fans last saw die in 2017 send-off movie Logan. The movie will introduce the iconic claw-bearing mutant and Merc with a mouth to the MCU. Yes. Now, anticipation for Deadpool's latest film has been brewing for the past, I would say, year. Let's be honest about it, since they announced that Hugh Jackman would come back.
Oh, yeah.
And the first trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine, which debuted during the Super Bowl, broke the record for the most viewed movie trailer within 24 hours with an outstanding 365 million total views. Now, that one is beating out the previous holder, which is another Marvel flick, Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, Deadpool and Wolverine comes nearly 6 years after the release of Deadpool 2, during which time we've seen the wrap of Fox's X-Men film series and Disney's complete acquisition of 20th Century Fox, which held the rights to the X-Men and Fantastic Four. Now, the latter now also getting its first MCU feature film. So we're super excited about that. And we're also super excited about Deadpool and Wolverine hitting theaters on July 26th. It's crazy that it's been 6 years since Deadpool 2. Yeah. I mean, we were out in LA when we saw it. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. But this trailer is everything everybody's been waiting for. It's anybody who was complaining about the sleeves are gone, right? Now, they clearly must get ripped off or something because they are tattered and you can't please everybody. That now they're saying, oh, it's no sleeves, but he doesn't have the shoulder pads. And it's like, Jesus Christ, just chill out, man.
Always something.
Yeah, and we still don't see the mask, but admittedly, I think they're all holding on to him in the mask for the film. It's the one thing they're trying to not show you prior to the film. But there's Old Man Logan references. I mean, look, anybody who read the Old Man Logan series immediately recognized the dead Ant-Man, the giant Ant-Man's dead body that they've turned into a hideout. Like, what the fuck? You got all the Callisto and Sabretooth and, like, Deathstrike and all of them in there in front. Bad guy, finally confirmed, Charles Xavier's evil-ass twin sister. What? Cassandra Nova. That's so fucking awesome. We know we're getting X-23. Old Daphne Keane is coming back as X-23. All likelihood, it certainly seems to appear that Channing Tatum will indeed be Gambit in this one. They hinted at it throughout the trailer. We could spend an entire show talking about this trailer and everything that I saw in it. All I will say is this is definitively the one I've been waiting for. This is Wolverine in the suit being Wolverine. Foul-mouthed, angry, I'm going to cut you up before I talk to you kind of. I've been waiting for this forever. And the only other thing, for anybody who said, because like you said, Logan, at the top of it, with the last time we saw Logan, he died. Well, this is not that Logan. Apparently, the premise of the storyline is that Deadpool is jumping through timeline, trying to find the Wolverine that can help him. So this is not the one that died. This is a different one who apparently failed in saving his world. Which I like, because they said from the get-go they weren't going to fuck up that death and how they ended that story, which I'm thrilled about but we still get Wolvie.
I know. There's a couple more things too, because like I think my favorite part in the entire trailer was them in sequence walking, doing that little sidewalk.
Yeah,
I love that so much. And then if you're a video game person, that first shot where Wolverine's back is turned at the bar, that is from the Wolverine game. So that's awesome how they were able to dummy that and give the gamers a little bit of nostalgia as well. So I thought that was so freaking epic. But there's so much to this freaking film that I think it's the best trailer of the year by far.
Oh, without doubt.
We're 5 months into the year, and this is the best trailer of the year in my opinion.
And I think this definitively says Marvel is going to rebound. Remember, that was one of my predictions for this year. Kevin Feige would straighten the ship now that Chapek's gone, and Marvel would see itself rebound back to the top and reclaim what it has been all those, for a decade and a half. This movie definitively says yes. And then if you couple that with everything that we've been seeing with Daredevil Born Again on the TV side, they're back. They are back. They are getting the shit right, and it's going to be fucking awesome. That's all I'm saying. I cannot wait until July to see this movie, bro. I cannot wait. So much. Anyway, to be continued.
Yes.
H.E.R. Yeah, H.E.R. The Oscar, Emmy, and 5-time Grammy Award-winning musical artist who made her feature acting debut, of course, with the recent Color Purple musical adaptation, is keeping her movie career marching along. The multi-hyphenate is set to develop, produce, and star in a majorettes-inspired project set up at 20th Century Studios. Now, guess who she's re-teaming with? It only makes sense after the work on Color Purple. The Untitled project re-teams her with the one and only O that matters, Oprah Winfrey, and Scott Sanders, her producers on The Color Purple. Now, fascinated by the majorettes and their impact on black culture, H.E.R. approached Winfrey and Sanders with this project after working with them on The Color Purple. The duo will produce alongside H.E.R., with Winfrey producing via her Harpo Films. Lauren Ashley Smith has been tapped to pen the script for what is being described as a dance movie set at a fictional historically black college or university in Atlanta. The story follows an introverted ballet dancer from LA who defies her parents by putting her thriving dance career on hold to go to college. There she joins the HBCU's struggling majorette team and attempts to overcome culture shock, her stuffy dance background, and fierce rivals to help her return to the team to former glory. The intent to make it a funny, joyous celebration of authentic HBCU life, told through the point of view of a majorette who, through experiencing HBCU life for the first time, will start to tap into who she really is. I love H.E.R., and you know how we feel about Oprah. I think this is going to be good. I think it's going to be good.
Completely agree, man. Completely agree. So much good things going down in the entertainment industry this week. I mean, Jennifer Aniston, our friend and yours, and her Echo Films partner, Kristen Hahn, are producing a 9 to 5 reimagining for 20th Century Studios. Now, the film is currently in development with Diablo Cody, who is from Juno and Lisa Frankenstein, working on the latest draft of the reimagined story. Now, plot details are being kept well under wraps, but the original 9 to 5 follows 3 females, office colleagues to be in fact, who decide to extract revenge on their sexist boss. Now, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton, and Dabney Coleman starred in the 1980 Office satire that also spawned a sitcom of the same name. Now, that also aired on ABC from 1982 to 83, and its first run in syndication from 86 to 88. Now, Parton, Tomlin, and Fonda participated in the 2022 documentary Still Working 9 to 5,
yes,
which follows and focuses on the impact of the classic film 40 years later. So that's really cool. I love to see that. I mean, still holding that film near and dear to their hearts.
Oh yeah, and I'm curious as to what the reimagining is. How do you reimagine
Right?
9 to 5? But I mean, if anything, the sexist bosses and like that shit's still relevant today. So
Yeah, right?
that's gonna be interesting. Hey, we love Dooley Hill, old Charlie from West Wing. Well, guess what? Dooley and Sarira Blue are set for recurring roles opposite Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass in Orphan. This shit sounds fucked up, y'all. That's going to be Hulu's 8-episode limited series starring and executive produced by Pompeo. I don't know. Written by Katie Robbins, the drama, here it is, series is inspired by the true story of a Midwestern couple, Michael and Christine Barnett, played by Duplass and Pompeo, who adopt a girl with a rare form of dwarfism. But as they begin to raise her alongside their 3 biological children, questions emerge around her age and background, and they slowly start to suspect she may not be who she says she is. As they grow to believe their new daughter is a threat, she fights her own battle to confront her past and what her future holds in a showdown that will ultimately play out in the tabloids and in the courtroom. Now, Hill will play Brandon Drysdale, the detective investigating the criminal allegations made against the Barnetts. Blue will portray Valkia, the parent of one of the kids at Christine's daycare center. I kind of sort of remember this real life story. This was a grown ass woman pretending to be a child. Like, that's freaky as shit. Yeah. That is freaky as shit. This is going to be a cool little miniseries, and I'm going to be terrified to watch it, and yet won't turn away. I'm just like, creepy shit, man. That's
it really is. It really is. Well, 40 years after putting down the power station broom and picking up the microphone, Jon Bon Jovi is in an introspective mood. That's right. The man who co-wrote iconic songs, including Living on a Prayer and Keeping the Faith, is preparing for the release of Hulu's 4-part documentary series, Thank You, Good Night. Now, this one is going to be directed by Gautam Chopra, initially planned as a career retrospective around the band's 40th anniversary. Bon Jovi's infamous album was released on January 21st of 1984. Now, the series added another element to the story, though, that of its lead singer's health issues that have raised question marks about the band's future. Now, Thank You, Goodnight, which premiered today, highlights the highs and lows of being in a band, the drugs, and the difficulties of remaining successful and wanting to evolve, but not wanting to alienate its audience in addition to its leader's health issues. It's not a VH1 puff piece, don't get me wrong, and this is coming from Bon Jovi themselves. The series is chronological. Each episode, New Jersey versus Everybody, Nowhere to Everywhere, Brothers in Arms, and Legendary. It tackles a decades of the band's career, and it kicks off with their formation in Sayreville, New Jersey. Now, that happened in 1983 after John spent years playing in Asbury Park with the Atlantic City Expressway. Now, Jon Bon Jovi, that's an interesting real name, and the Wild Ones and the rest, including a memorable appearance by his hero, Bruce Springsteen, at the Fastlane in 1980. This sounds like it's going to be awesome, and I feel like Bon Jovi is that band who really everybody likes. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, I think they were the biggest pop rock band of the 80s, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And look, I think everybody's going to be tuning into this one just to see what's going on with Richie Sambora. From what I read, Richie Sambora is in this, but he was saying, well, if I do this, are we going to tell the truth or are we going to lie? And I guess Bon Jovi says that things aren't great, that he's not, because he's not trying, he continues to keep reaching out and kind of thing, where Sambora says, yeah, we don't talk, but we're cool. So I don't know who's telling the truth, but I'm betting a lot of people are going to be tuning in to see what's going on there, because I'm sorry, but Bon Jovi is not Bon Jovi without Richie Sambora, and you know, they got back together for the Hall of Fame induction, but they like are not touring together. And We shall
Interesting.
see. I'm definitely watching it. I'm definitely watching it. Oh, okay. Hey, Disney Plus has unveiled the trailer for Becoming Karl Lagerfeld, the streamer's highly anticipated original series starring Daniel Bruhl as the iconic fashion designer. Now, produced by Gamet and H.E.R. Premiere, the six-part series chronicles the rise of Karl Lagerfeld through the world of 1970s Parisian high fashion. It will be available to stream on Disney Plus in France and international territories, and on Hulu in the U.S. on June 7th. Now, Becoming Karl world premiered at the Cannes series. It received a standing ovation and warm reviews. Becoming Karl Lagerfeld also highlights some of the biggest stars of that era, including Marlene Dietrich, who will be played by Suni Melez, Paloma Picasso, Lulu de la Falaise, a high-profile Belgian singer, and Andy Warhol. You know who Andy Warhol is. German actress Lisa Kauser, whose eclectic career includes films by Wim Wenders, Patrice Chachou, and the Dark series stars as Karfeld's mother, Elizabeth Lagerfeld. So, they seem to be the things, man. These biopics just about people seem to be the thing. So, I love Daniel Bruhl, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, completely agree. I feel like with the evolution of the streamers, like these biopics, these documentaries, like they've become more popular. Like I really think like, people always love a glimpse into other people's life,
For sure.
especially famous people.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very interesting. It really is. But we're hopping over to the bunny, Warner Brothers Discovery. Lee Jun Lee and Lola Kirk are the newest additions to the cast of Ryan Coogler's untitled supernatural thriller starring Michael B. Jordan for Warner Brothers. Now, details as to the film's plot remain, of course, under wraps, as does her role in it as well. But as previously reported on this show, Jack O'Connell, Delroy Lindo, Omar Benson Miller, James Lawson, Amu Masku, Haley Steinfeld will also star in this bad boy.
Wow.
Now, Coogler is directing from his own script and will also produce alongside Zenzi Coogler and Vev Orfanin. The film's executive producers are two-time Oscar winner composer Ludwig Göransson and Rebecca Chow and Will Greenfield. So it looks like he is in good company.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
yeah.
I'm really excited about this thing because Ryan Coogler kind of doing a thriller. That's new. That's new.
Yeah,
So
and
we'll see how it
vampires.
goes.
Come on, that's gonna
Yeah.
be bad. That's interesting to me, though. One of the executive producers, Ludwig Göransson, he just won the Oscar for the score for Oppenheimer. He's the guy
Yeah.
that did the score for The Mandalorian and the Star
Yeah.
Wars stuff for executive producing this film. That's interesting. Is he making the leap to other areas?
Stepping
of
in a
it?
new lane, it seems.
Dude, I love that. I love that. I also love this. Emmy-nominated Succession director Lauren Scafaria is back at HBO to direct and executive produce the network's half-hour comedy pilot, starring, written, and executive produced by Rachel Sennett. Now, in the Untitled project, a codependent friend group reunites, navigating how the time apart, ambition, and new relationships have changed them. Now, this marks Scafaria's return to comedy, as she previously directed multiple episodes of Fox's New Girl, and additionally, she wrote and directed the 2019 feature Hustlers. So she's got some experience in comedy, love fucking New Girl, so that should be good. We'll check that one out.
It really should be, man. It really should be. Well, Backstreet is back, all right. Member Nick Carter and his late brother Aaron Carter, and the controversies and accusations swirling around both of them will be the subject of the latest high-profile documentary series for Investigation Discovery.
Oh, boy.
They've discovered amazing success, I guess. I don't want to say amazing. They discovered some crazy success of the recent Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. Of course, that was centered around Nickelodeon. ID and its sister streamer Max will jointly run the 4-part documentary series. Now, it's going to be titled Fallen Idols, Nick and Aaron Carter, over 2 nights on Monday, May 27th and Tuesday, May 28th. And that's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And in particular, the series will investigate the accusations of sexual assault against Nick Carter by 3 women, and will also dive into the younger brother Aaron Carter's struggle with mental health and substance abuse. Then, of course, that led to his death in 2022. Now, Fallen Idols will additionally look at the relationship between the brothers, which took a turn when Aaron Carter began criticizing Nick Carter for those allegations supporting the accusers. Fallen Idols includes interviews with Melissa Schumann, Ashley Repp, and Shannon Shea Ruth, all of whom have alleged sexual assault by Nick Carter. Also interviewed is an unnamed member of the Carter family, as well as friends, including Nick Carter's ex-girlfriend, Kaya Jones, and Aaron Carter's former fiance, Melanie Martin. Ooh, this stuff is getting into the nitty-gritty of the dark side of Hollywood, man. It is crazy.
It is, and it's not going away, guys. It's just something that I feel like, at least once a month we're going to talk about on the show because there's going to be a story about something like it. So it
seems that way.
It's scary. What's not scary, jumping on over to the Paramount, the Smallville reunion that I was teasing you about at the top of the show. Yes, it is correct. If you remember, Justin Hartley, you know him, you love him, played Oliver Queen, Green Arrow on Smallville. And Jensen Ackles, you know him, you love him from Supernatural, he was an assistant coach on the Smallville high school football team who had kind of a thing for Lana. They're back, guys. What am I talking about? Well, Jensen is set to guest star in the CBS drama series Tracker. Now, series lead Justin Hartley revealed the news in a video posted to his official Instagram. In the video, which is hilarious, by the way, Hartley teases that they have found the perfect casting choice to play Russell Shaw, the estranged older brother of Hartley's character, Coulter Shaw. Now, as the video ends, Hartley turns the camera to reveal Ackles on the show's set. Now, Ackles will appear in the episode airing on May 12th. In the episode, Russell enlists Coulter's help to track down an old army buddy. Tracker has 4 episodes left to go for its first season, but don't worry, because it's already been renewed for season 2. I would agree with him. I think this is perfect casting. All of that supernatural stuff just leads to some paranoid guy who was taught how to survive in the wilderness this is perfect. And if you go back and listen to our interview with Fiona Renee, who plays Renee on Tracker, I think this might have been who she was hinting at when she said she flubbed a line on a day where executives were there and a really big-name guest star that she was nervous about. It's got to be him. It's got to be who she was talking about. Now it makes sense who she was talking about. But I'm pumped for this one, man. I love Jensen Ackles. I love Justin Hartley. The show is phenomenal, and we'll talk about the show a little later. I'm pumped for it, man.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. And CBS also renewed its hit for the past 5 seasons, The Equalizer. And of course, this one is led by Queen Latifah. The series season 2 date is averaging about 8.3 total views, and that's a 0.65 demo rating, which is right on par with its season 3 numbers, which is good.
Yep.
Out of the 14 dramas that CBS has aired this television season, it ranks number 5 in the total audience, trailing Tracker, NCIS, FBI, and Blue Bloods, which are all hit shows for CBS.
Oh, yeah.
So it's doing pretty well. It's in good company. And in the 4th demo track behind Tracker, alrighty, and Fire Country. Of course, Fire Country as well.
Yep.
But they're rocking and rolling, man. I'm honestly, a lot of people have been talking about this, and I remember trying to watch the first couple episodes, but I don't know. I just kind of went a different direction, but maybe we should try to catch back up. Who knows?
Maybe, because they keep talking about eventually crossing over with Denzel and her. Like, it's all in the same universe, all in the same thing. So that'd be interesting. So that's good news for all of those shows, and especially, Equalizer. But not so lucky are both So Help Me Todd and CSI Vegas, which have been canceled at CBS. Now, So Help Me Todd is currently airing its 2nd season at the broadcaster, while CSI Vegas is airing its 3rd. Now, both shows are scheduled to air their season finales in May, which will now serve, obviously, as the series finales. The 2 shows were some of the few CBS shows awaiting word on their fates for next season. The only other CBS shows with pending renewal statuses were The Equalizer, which they just announced was, as we just told you, and NCIS Hawaii. Curious on that one. Our buddy Amy Rutberg writes on that one, so I'm hoping that one gets it. Obviously, as Logan said, Equalizer's a solid performer, and so is NCIS Hawaii. So they should be getting it. Now, So Help Me Todd was only averaging 7.7 million viewers an episode in the multi-platform, and CSI Vegas was was only averaging 7.6 million. Now, according to an individual with knowledge of the situation, CBS simply didn't have enough room on the schedule to bring him back. Damn, that's fucked up. In addition to many previously announced renewals, CBS already has a number of new shows set to debut next season. The Matlock reboot starring Kathy Bates and, of course, our buddy Jason Ritter, and the multicam comedy Papa's House starring Damon Wayans and Damon Wayans Jr. They are both waiting in the wings as their premieres were delayed by the dual Hollywood strikes. CBS has also given out a straight-to-series order to the Sherlock Holmes-inspired Watson, starring Morris Chestnut, the prequel series NCIS Origins, and apparently a multicam spin-off, as we've mentioned on the past shows, of Young Sheldon. So I guess that makes sense why they don't have room.
Yeah, right.
Still pretty shitty to say, yeah, we're just going to put these other shows. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Luke Clean Fish Tank, who knows?
Sure.
Who played Scott Forrester in FBI's International since its debut, is leaving the crime drama series after 3 seasons. Now, Lukey Boy, last episode airs on May 7th, while the season 3 finale drops on May 21st. Now, FBI International, alongside with FBI and FBI Most Wanted, was renewed by CBS earlier this month. Now, all 3 shows, which CBS currently airs together in a Tuesday night programming block, will return for a 2024-2025 broadcast season. Now, the FBI franchise hails from the one and only Dick Wolf and his Wolf Entertainment banner, as well as Universal Television in association with CBS Studios. So all interesting things over there. So I'm wondering why he left. Maybe to pursue other ventures.
I don't know. Well, I did read somewhere that it had something to do with his family. Maybe he's spending too much time away from the family or something like that. I don't know, but it was personal reasons having to do with the family, if I remember correctly. But still, he's like the lead of the show, so I don't know how they're gonna recast that or do. But this next one, holy shit. If you would have told me this guy nearly died, I'd say you were full of shit. And it just proves he's a legit superhero. I'm talking about Jeremy Renner, who looks like he hasn't lost a damn step in the first full trailer for the long-awaited 3rd season of Mayors of Kingstown. Renner is back in business as a Michigan crime boss in the Paramount Plus series, which is from co-creators Taylor Sheridan and Hugh Dillon. Now, this season marks Renner's acting comeback following, like I said, his near-fatal 2023 New Year's Day snowplow accident. Renner returned to set 1 year after he was critically injured after being run over by a 14,300-pound snowcat at his home in Reno, Nevada. Get this, y'all. He had broken 38 bones and his rib cage was rebuilt with metal, along with metal plates in his face to support his eye socket and titanium rods in one of his legs. What? Now, if you watch this trailer, you'd be like, no, he's throwing people in the walls and punching people. It's like, no way. It's just amazing. The official description, a series of explosions rock Kingstown and its citizens as a new face of the Russian mob sets up shop in the city and a drug war rages inside and outside the prison walls. The pressure is on Mike, who of course is Jeremy Renner, to end the war, but things get complicated when a familiar face from his incarcerated past threatens to undermine the mayor's attempt to keep the peace among all factions. Now, the 3rd season premieres Sunday, June 2nd in the US and Canada before rolling out in international markets on the next day. I am pumped for it. I don't know if you watched that trailer yet, but shit, fucking he looks like a badass, bro. I'm just so inspiring, man.
It really is, because, I mean, you can really come back from anything. I mean, he's a true testament of that. And, yeah, I need to watch the trailer after this recording, because your excitement through the text message when you sent me the trailer, I could just tell. it was good.
Dude, yeah, so good.
Well, Rosemary's Baby prequel, Apartment 7A, starring Julia Garner, and directed by Natalie Erica James, will premiere exclusively on Paramount Plus ahead of Halloween season. Now, Roman Polanski's 1968 horror classic was produced by Paramount. Now, that, of course, was starring Mia Farrow and John Casteves as the young couple who are trying to start a family but find themselves tormented by strange neighbors. Now, according to the official log line, Apartment 7A is set in 1965 New York City and tells the story prior to the legendary horror classic Rosemary's Baby. Now, exploring what happened in the apartment before Rosemary moved in, when a struggling young dancer suffers a devastating injury, she finds herself drawn in by dark forces when a particular, well-connected older couple promises her a shot of fame. Now, commissioned for Paramount Plus, the film also stars Diane Wiest, Jem Sturgis, and Kevin McNally.
Oh.
So that sounds very interesting. I haven't seen the original, but Roman Polanski.
Yeah. But this original is scary as fuck, dude. The Rosemary's Baby is one of those, like, it's not horror, but it's scary as fuck. It's some creepy shit. And an interesting story behind that whole thing. So Mia Farrow at that time was dating Frank Sinatra. And this movie shot her to fucking massive stardom, surpassing Frank, who was not fucking happy about it. And that had some problems and butted heads, and eventually that was over. But yeah, there was a lot of back and forth going on. He wanted her to quit the film. He wanted her to it was very interesting. It was very, very interesting. But yeah, that's one you should put on the list to go back and watch. All right, let's jump on over to Universal. Brian Tyree Henry has joined the cast of Universal's Untitled Pharrell Williams and Michael Gondry musical project. Now, the Oscar, Emmy, and Tony nominee joins Kelvin Harrison Jr., Halle Bailey, and Oscar winner Davine Joy Randolph in the coming age musical. Now, it's set in the summer of 1977 at Virginia. I swear it's only coffee in the cup. I swear it is. It's set in 1977 at Virginia Beach and inspired by Atlantis Apartments, Williams' childhood neighborhood. Gondry is set to direct the project based on a script by Martin Hines and Stephen Levinson. So there you go.
There it is, man. There it is. Oscar winner, Divine. She's rocking and rolling, man.
Yes, she
rocking
is.
And rolling. Peacock, the streaming service of Comcast's entertainment unit, NBC Universal, grew its first quarter revenue and narrowed its losses to $639 million. Now, that is from $704 million a year ago prior, and $825 million in the fourth quarter of 2023, despite higher programming costs. Now, the streamer ended March with 34 million paying subscribers, compares with a year's end of 2023 figure of 31 million. So they gained 3 million followers, which isn't horrible, but it's not the best. They're definitely nowhere near the top of the streaming wars. Peacock paid subscribers increased 55% compared to the prior year period to 34 million, including net additions of 3 million in the first quarter. Now, Comcast highlighted Peacock's revenue increased 54% to $1.1 billion, according to a Comcast president, Michael Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh.
Yeah,
Is it
Kavanaugh. Yep, Kavanaugh.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that was the Supreme Court Justice guy. Bruce Kavanaugh, or whatever the fuck his name is. Anyway, the company has grown, has 6 growth businesses that it sees worth investing in. Now, Peacock's, the studio's theme parks, residential broadband, mobile, and business services. So I tweeted about this past week. They're definitely not, like we said, nowhere near the top. Things are not the best, but I mean, they have pretty decent content on there. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I like Peacock. I go on there every once in a while.
I do too. And this next story is going to help Peacock get more subscribers. I can guarantee you that. The last NBC drama series whose fate had not been determined, Law and Order Organized Crime, is apparently going to be saved. It's finalizing a deal for a 10-episode Season 5 renewal. The Wolf Entertainment series will be relocating, though, from NBC to Peacock, with the new season streaming exclusively exclusively on the platform. The move gives the NBC Universal streamer an original Dick Wolf drama series to go with the Wolf library and next day runs of the company's remaining NBC series, which of course are Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Law and Order, and Law and Order SVU, which are among the platform's most viewed titles. Now, Organized Crime, which follows SVU's Elliot Stabler in his return to the NYPD to work on the Organized Crime Task Force, has been an outlier, a departure from the Dick Wolf procedural brand with its darker and more serialized storytelling. That's possibly as a result the series has performed below the other 5 Wolf dramas in the linear ratings on NBC, but it's doing really well on Peacock. So I think I like this move as long as it keeps it around. I don't want them to stop doing the crossovers, though. Olivia Benson is a huge part of Elliot's story. So if you stop doing the crossovers there, I think that's a huge mistake. You got to keep all 3 of them. I watch all 3 of them the next day anyway. So nothing's going to change for me. I'll watch all 3 of them back to back like I do all the time. But I also think that maybe that was a little bit of the problem, if I'm going to be honest about it. When the show first launched, they featured Olivia heavily. She guest starred on episodes and Elliot on SVU, and then they just stopped. And I think fans did not like that. So, that's the bread and butter. You got to keep giving the fans what they want. I am excited it's saved, though. I love the show. I'm a fan of the darker storylines and his past and everything, so I'm thrilled.
Fantastic. As the host of the April 13th episode, Ryan Gosling brought Saturday Night Live its biggest Peacock audience ever when accounting for 7 days viewership. While an exact number of the Peacock views are not available, at least at this time, the episode's 7-day total across all platforms is about 8.9 million. That is up from the 1.7 million viewers who turned in to the night of. This comes from a combination of Nielsen's measurements of linear views and on NBC and NBC Universal's own data regarding streams on Peacock. Now, this represents the show's best 7-day viewership since December of 2021, when Billie Eilish served both as host and musical guest. Now, additionally, the episode rose from 0.3 rating among adults ranging from 18 to 49 on April 13th to a 7-day rating of 2.0.
Oh, wow.
Which is highest since Dave Chappelle hosted in November of 2022 with the Foo Fighters as the musical guest. Now, 46 million people have also viewed at least a portion of the episode on YouTube, with a total of 170 million views across all social media platforms. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people went back and watched Ryan Gosling's episode. I mean, it really reminded me of Prime SNL, because Prime SNL is when they do break character, is when everybody laughs, because that's when you laugh.
Yeah.
It makes it more wholesome. So I love to see that. And I mean, YouTube is a big thing for SNL right now. I mean, that's how I watch it, because I mean, you could just cut the clips up real easy.
Yep, same. And Peacock got smart, because they're doing that now, where you can watch segments and just clips. So Peacock's getting on that YouTube train too. This does not surprise me, like you said. This was probably one of the funniest episodes of Saturday Night Live I've seen in the last 20 years. It was fucking hysterical. And that Beavis and Butthead thing, apparently they had been trying to get on the air for about 20 years. And they finally were able to get it. And holy shit. If you haven't seen it, you're living under a fucking rock. But if you haven't seen it, you have to watch it. It's fucking hysterical. How to Get Away with Murder alumna Aja Naomi King is returning to broadcast television as a lead opposite Melissa Furmrow, Anna Sophia Robb, and Ben Rappaport in Grosse Pointe Garden Society, NBC's drama pilot from Jenna Band's Bill Krebs and Universal Television. Now, this drama will apparently follow 4 members of a suburban garden club, Birdie, Alice, Brett, and Catherine, all from different walks of life, who get caught up in murder and mischief as they struggle to make their conventional lives bloom. The pilot series regular cast also includes Matthew Davies and Alexander Hodge. Sure. Who doesn't like to get together and plant and kill? I mean, come on.
Yeah, sure. It's a new pastime. Well, Universal and Rotten Tomatoes have partnered to create the new Seen on Screen podcast, hosted by Rotten Tomatoes awards editor Jacqueline Coley. The bi-weekly podcast offers a behind-the-scenes look into Universal's productions and conversations with Universal employees about the impact of film on their lives. Now,
Interesting.
Seen on Screen also aims to demystify the inner workings of the film industry to listeners. Now, episodes will showcase the many employment opportunities available across a major studio and highlight the diversity within the Universal staff. NBC Universal's Fandango is a majority owner of Rotten Tomatoes, with Warner Brothers owning the remaining 25%. Now, Seen on Screen premiered this week with bi-weekly episodes airing on the Universal Pictures YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's awesome. I'm always looking for new podcasts, so I'm going to have to check that one out.
Oh, yeah. But just to say, I love that they're going to be talking about how film impacts the lives of their employees and all that. But the demystifying the inner workings of the film industry for listeners, we've been doing that for years.
Yeah, right.
We give you the inside scoop on what it's like to work in the industry from stars, from the people who work in the industry.
Literally.
Thanks for catching up, Universal. We've been doing it for a while now.
They've been
listening. They're like, hey, that seems like a good idea. Sony, let's jump on over to Sony and another good idea. Loving this one. Danny Boyle's 28 years later has added Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Ralph Fiennes to the cast. Now, this, of course, is the continuation of the 28 Days Later franchise, will be released in theaters globally by Sony Pictures. Now, 28 Days Later was released in 2002 and starred Cillian Murphy, then largely unknown still. Boyle directed that feature while Alex Garland wrote. Now, a sequel, 28 Weeks Later, was released in 2007. Plot details are still being kept under wraps for the new screenplay written by Garland. It will be part of an upcoming trilogy for which Nia DaCosta is in talks to direct the second film in that trilogy. Now, Boyle and Garland are producing, as is original producer Andrew McDonald and Peter Rice. Bernie Bello is producing also, and Murphy is also returning as an executive producer, but is not currently attached to star, so we will see. I think you should get him. He's kind of big now. Just saying.
Yeah, right.
Just bring him back. Just bring him back.
Just saying. Well, Clue could soon be heading back to the screen.
Yes.
Hasbro Entertainment has closed a deal with Sony's TriStar Pictures and Sony Pictures Television for the film and TV rights for the beloved board game. Should any film or television version of Clue go forward, it would not be the first time this game has been adapted. Most famously, the comedy film based on the game was released in 1985, featuring a cast that included Tim Curry, Madeline Kahn, and Christopher Lloyd. Now, since then, Universal adapted to develop the film version starring Ryan Reynolds, while Fox was previously developing an animated Clue series. There have been various Clue game shows over the years, and scripted Clue miniseries aired on a defunct cable network, The Hub. Now it's called Discovery Family. Back in 2011, this marks the latest attempt by Hasbro to bring their best-known IP to other media. They are currently working on various projects involving properties like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Dungeons & Dragons, and Magic: The Gathering. Just to name a few, they are very big into bringing these things to life. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and as you like to point out, I am old, and I was a 15-year-old kid when that first one came out. Maybe an unpopular opinion here, but I liked the Clue movie back then. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a good, and Tim Curry and like Christopher Reeve and like a bunch of people in that one. But yeah, it was fucking funny.
Nice.
Good luck to him. Look, Saturday Night Live is kicking ass, and apparently they're going to kick ass away from Saturday Night Live because it looks like the recent team up on Saturday Night Live went very well for Keke Palmer and four-time Grammy winner Za are set to apparently now star in an untitled buddy comedy movie from TriStar Pictures with producer Issa Rae producing. Now, rap shit director Lawrence Lamont is set to direct, with the screenplay written by his rap shit teammate, Sarita Singleton, who served as the series showrunner. Now, plot details, of course, are being kept under wraps. The move marked Za's acting debut. The musician had been considering a number of projects, but the opportunity to reunite with Palmer was apparently too good to pass up. So I guess they hit it off on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it really seems like it. And it's all about educating in this show. SZA,
SZA, za, SZA, za. Let's go with it.
It sounds like something you say after you make like a really good dish in the kitchen.
Sure.
SZA.
Okay,
so
sure.
Funny. Heading over to Lionsgate, Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, and Michael Williams will star in a semi-normal horror film. Just kidding. Stars of the seminal horror film Blair Witch Project released a public letter to Lionsgate on Saturday asking for more robust compensation for their work on the 1999 blockbuster, as well as meaningful consultation for any future Blair Witch projects that use their names or likeness. Now, the statement comes 10 days after Lionsgate and Blumhouse announced that they plan to revive the franchise with a new movie that would provide, in the words of Lionsgate Motion Picture Group Chair Adam Fogelson, the new vision for Blair Witch that will reintroduce the horror classic to a new generation. Now, Lionsgate did not produce or distribute the original 1999 film. It acquired the property through its 2003 buyout of the independent film distributor Artisan Entertainment. Now, the Lionsgate Blumhouse announcement sparked a strong worded response via social media from Leonard, who said that the actors who shot and improvised the independent movie over roughly a week on a shoestring budget, that it was, if you've ever seen it, using their real names for characters, they each made $300,000 from the buyout of their ownership points on the film, which went on to gross $248 million worldwide. But then back in 2002, I'm used to saying 20 now.
Right.
The actors sued Artisan Entertainment for using their names and likeness in the studio's 2000 sequel, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch Project 2, or Blair Witch 2. In their most recent statement, Leonard, Williams, and Donahue, who now goes by Ray Hans, call on Lionsgate to provide them with retroactive and future residual payments, equivalent to the sum that would have been accoladed through SAG-AFTRA had we had proper union or legal representation when the film was made. They also asked for meaningful consultation on any future Blair Witch reboots, sequels, prequels, toys, games, rides, escape rooms, etc., etc., in which one could reasonably assume that Heather, Michael, and Josh's names and or likeness will be associated for promotional purposes in the public sphere. Now, a spokesperson for Lionsgate had no comment on this, so that's very interesting. I mean, honestly, as someone who would remake something, I would just remake it in a whole new light. I could see them having a problem if they're, still using their real names, or just don't use the last names. I feel like if they don't use the last names, then whatever. But I think this is just people who haven't worked in a while looking for some money. That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not wrong in the sense that they said that the representation was a fair assumption that they would be using their names and likenesses in promotion. They actually do have a game, a ride, and an escape room that they use their names and images to promote. So they're not wrong in saying that. And if for anybody young enough and doesn't know, this was the first found hidden footage of nobody knew. Everybody thought this was legit real campers that ended up missing and shit. They thought it was somebody found this footage on a camera out in the and they released it for the world to see. And then of course, that spawned Paranormal Activity and all these other found footage movies. But Yeah, I mean, I don't think moving forward they should get any piece of the pie from shit moving forward, like you said, if they change it up or use different names or different people, blah, blah, blah. But if they are going to continue to reference them specifically and use footage from the original in promotion of the new, they should get a piece of it. I mean, it was their idea. Like, they're the ones who kind of came up with the shoestring budget, said, hey, let's do this. Let's use our own names. Let's, I don't know. It's one of those hard things,
very
right?
Interesting. Like I said, I think if they use just the first name, but if you use the last names, then yeah, you should get something. But if you use the first names, I feel like But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. We'll definitely follow that closely because yeah, that one's gonna be. They want to move forward with it, so we'll see what happens.
Well, remember, and this isn't the first time. Remember Wolfman from Top Gun?
Yeah.
He sued because they used his image in Maverick, and they never asked permission, and he lost because they said, no, that's part of promotional shit from the first movie, and we have the right to use that in any sequels. But apparently so this isn't the first time those type things have happened with lawsuits. So.
Yeah.
This is good news, though, for Lionsgate. This guy is a winner, and he's apparently staying. Lionsgate TV's Gary Goodman has signed a new multi-year deal to continue his role as Executive Vice President of Worldwide Production. He'll continue to oversee production on the studio's slate of scripted series, as well as East Coast television production facilities in Yonkers, New York, Atlanta, and a new site opening in Newark, New Jersey. Now, in his 17 years at Lionsgate, guys, Goodman has worked on series including Mad Men, Orange is the New Black, Weeds, Nurse Jackie, Nashville, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, and more. That's a serious track record. The guy's got some serious hits there. He also led production for multiple installments of the Power franchise and BMF for Starz, along with Ghosts for CBS, which is a massive hit, Mythic Quest, Acapulco, and Manhunt for Apple TV Plus, and the recent John Wick prequel, The Continental, for Peacock and Amazon Prime. Now, Goodman is also currently leading production on NBC's John Cryer comedy Extended Family, the Seth Rogen half-hour comedy The Studio for Apple TV Plus, and both The Hunting Wives and Spartacus for Starz. So there you go. Extended Family's fucking hilarious. I love that show. It's so good. And The Hunting Wives is filming right now, right here where I'm at. So this guy's killing it, man.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, that's a lot of hit shows, so it only makes sense.
It
only makes sense. Well, we're heading over to Amazon MGM Studios Challengers, a steamy tennis drama starring Zendaya and directed by Luca Guadagnino.
Sure.
Is poised to lead the domestic box office without much in the way of its competition. The film from Amazon MGM made $1.9 million at the box office on Thursday night, and it is projected to collect $12 million to $15 million from 3,400 North American theaters in its opening weekend. Now, all those are modest projections for any nationwide release. It's the weekend's only major new movie and shouldn't have any trouble claiming first place from A24 Civil War, the reigning champion the last 2 weeks. The steamy R-rated Challengers was originally slated to premiere in 2023's Venice Film Festival and hit the big screen last fall, but the studio opted to delay the release to spring because the actors' strike prevented Zendaya and her co-stars, West Side Story actor Mike Feist and the Crown breakout star Josh O'Connor from being able to promote the movie. Now, Challenger carries a significant price tag of roughly $55 million, so Amazon MGM has a lot of writing on this one at the box office. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
I've seen it, and I will say it's going to start some conversations. It's going to start a lot of conversations, and people will definitely look at Zendaya in a much different way. I'm just going to say it. I'm just like, and I bet the $55 million, a lot of that was probably her salary or back-end commitment points to her or something. For sure. Because, I mean, the film is tennis, and there's not a lot of special effects or a lot of glitzy kind of high-end stuff, so I would assume that's where the budget is. Yeah. We'll talk much more about that film after. I'm holding back because Logan and Emily have not seen it yet, so I don't want to spoil anything, but stay tuned. Outlier Society, Mr. Michael B. Jordan's company, as you guys know, is developing the Amazon MGM Studios action thriller movie T-, which is being co-scripted by Fall Guys Drew Pearce and Watchmen and Station 11 scribe Nick Cuse. Now, Outlier Society's Michael B. Jordan and Elizabeth Raposo will produce, with Pearce, who is producing via his Point of No Return films, and Isa Dick Hackett via Electric Shepherd Productions. Now, the project was initially developed by Pearce's banner Point of No Return films. Outlier Society's Elizabeth Raposo heard the pitch, said to be an action thriller along the lines of Top Gun meets Back to the Future, with a Philip K. Dick twist. Okay. And saw the potential for it to be the perfect Outlier project, an elevated piece with major tentpole potential. Now, while plot details are, you know where it's going, under wraps, T- will be adapted from the Philip K. Dick sci-fi 1974 short story, A Little Something for Us Temponauts. Now, in that story, Temponauts, aka time travelers from the U.S., are sent a few days into the future rather than a century as planned. They learn their return from the future was fatal to them. They're also trapped in a closed time loop, and the group deliberates whether to try to break out of it or not. That sounds intense. I think that's going to be pretty good. Top Gun meets Back to the Future? Okay.
Right?
All right.
That's a lot happening.
Yeah, that is.
Amazon MGM Studios is definitely doing some interesting things because they unveiled the first trailer for Zoe Kravitz's twisted directorial debut, Blink Twice. Now, originally titled Pussy Island, the movie follows Frida, Naomi Aki, and Jess Elia Shackwet as they are charmed by tech billionaires Slater King, who's played by Channing Tatum, and lured to his private island for a weekend getaway. What starts as a steamy vacation soon devolves into a reality-bending nightmare that the women soon learn they must escape if they want to live. Other casts include Kyle MacLachlan, Haley Joel Osment, Adria Orgini, Gina Davis, Simon Rex, Christian Slater, and Liz Carriel. Now, Blink Twice is set to hit theaters on August 23rd. This reminds me of like a exaggerated Jeffrey Epstein type thing. So that's interesting.
Maybe so. I saw the trailer before the movie today, and it's a creepy fucking looking movie. Yeah. Zoe Kravitz is apparently one of the writers on it as well. It kind of is her baby from start to finish, and it's creepy as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It looks like it could be really good or really bad. I'm hoping really good because I love Zoe, so we'll see. This is really bad. Several crew members were apparently injured during filming of an action sequence on the set of The Pickup. The Amazon Studios feature film is currently shooting in Georgia. Now, the studio confirmed on Tuesday of this week that multiple people were hurt while filming the second unit sequence. The Associated Press reported that a truck locked up and crashed unexpectedly into another car. According to the report, 2 people were hospitalized, and the injuries ranged from bruises to broken bones. Now, Eddie Murphy is starring in this film along with Keke Palmer and Pete Davidson. None of those 3 were on set at the time of the accident. Amazon said it is still seeking further information, and IATSE, which represents the crew members, said it's also looking into the situation and may launch an investigation. I did see that it was the key grip, one of them, who basically shattered all his bones. Yeah, not good, man. This is another situation. We talk about the dark side with the kids and all that. This is something we also seem to talk about a lot, which is unsafe sets and people getting injured. We really got to do a better job of staying on that and maintaining, man. It's like too many people getting hurt or killed in these movies. It's just not right, man.
Exactly. I mean, you always think about the on-screen talent, but there's so many employees that go into creating a film. So you just have to protect everybody.
Yeah.
And there's nobody's life is more valuable than the others. So yeah, it's very important. It's very important. Women of My Billion. A documentary produced by Priyanka Chopra Jonas will play on Amazon Prime Video from May 3rd, starting on May 3rd, directed by Ajashti Sharma. Now, Women of My Billion. That's just an interesting title.
Yeah.
Follows the journey of Srishti Bakishi as she embarked on walking pilgrimage from Chaparni to Kashmir, India, spanning 3,800 and kilometers, or it's 2,360 miles over 240 days,
Wow.
with a mission to find and share stories about women, their struggles, dreams, rights, and their wins against all odds. Now, the documentary is produced by Priyanka Jonas under her Purple Pebble Pictures label and by Aprova Bakashind Mashadia. Oh my goodness. I'm just not even going to butcher any. I'm sorry. It's a great
Hold on.
cause.
I'm going to call Chaya and see if she knows.
Yeah, right. Like, it's a
that's
great cause. It looks like it's going to be amazing. I don't want to disrespect you any further, but you guys know. Can't do the names. Can't do the names.
no. And you know what? It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
So is this. Let's jump over to Netflix. This is awesome because I know we had a great guest talking about this film. I know that it's a fun film. So I'm excited that people who haven't seen it can. I'm talking, of course, about Anyone But You. After becoming a surprise what is with us tonight, man? After becoming a surprise box office sensation with more than $215 million at the worldwide box office, Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell's romantic comedy, Anyone But You, is now available on Netflix right now, where it's bound to keep on being a big hit. The actors play former flames who, of course, reluctantly pose as a couple during a wedding weekend in Australia to keep their friends and families off their backs. This is a great film. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely jump on board. And you can thank the $215 million worldwide gross to Sydney. Did you see that story?
Right.
She apparently, she was the one behind playing into the romance and going and basically saying that they were having an affair to push the movie. And she was on the phone with Sony saying, this is how we're going to do it. Or, with the studio going, this is how we're going to do it. I'll play heavily into it. You just run whatever stories you want, saying this, saying that. She orchestrated and Glenn didn't know. He just found out right now when she said it. He's like, what the fuck? So, I love that,
so
man.
It's crazy because, like, people stereotype her as a bottle blonde, I mean, she's very much, in loose terms, today's Marilyn, where they just don't give her enough credit to where, she's very smart. She was her class's valedictorian.
Yeah.
Like, she's very smart.
She's
playing
the dumb blonde, just like Marilyn did. Marilyn was extremely intelligent. It's like, it's a character. It's a character. And she's brilliant fucking marketing move on her part. Like, just brilliant.
And I mean, another person responsible for that is the cinematographer, Danny Ruhlman, who we had on the show. So be sure to check out that interview in a past episode.
Yes.
Now, Steve Carell is set to star opposite of Tina Fey in an upcoming Netflix comedy series, The Four Seasons. Now, the series is based on the 1981 film of the same name that was directed by and starred Alan Alda and Carol Burnett, Rita Moreno, Sandy Dennis, and Lynn Criero, also among the cast members. The series was first announced in January with an 8 episodes order, and it is slated to begin production later this year. In the film, 3 married couples take vacations together each season, but things are thrown for a loop when one of the husband leaves his wife and begins bringing a younger woman with him. It was previously adapted into a 1984 television series for CBS. Now, in addition to starring, Faye also co-created the series along with Lang Fisher and Tracy Wigfield. Now, all 3 previously worked together on the beloved NBC sitcom 30 Rock. I love this too because we haven't really seen Steve Carell go back to comedy since his drastic change to drama. He is going to be in If, that new John Krasinski movie, which reteams the Office duo. But he's been very hardcore dramatic actor recently, and he's amazing. So it's going to be awesome to see him go back to comedy.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So this is pretty cool too. Thandie Newton is the latest new cast member to join Wednesday season 2 at Netflix. Exact character details are being kept under wraps, of course, but she is the latest new cast member to be revealed, as it was previously reported that Steve Buscemi would also appear on season 2. Now, reps for Netflix declined to comment, and few details are available about the new season of Wednesday, aside from the fact that Jenna Ortega will obviously return as the title character. The first season ended with Wednesday successfully solving a series of grisly murders while also thwarting an attempt to destroy Nevermore Academy and its students. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Wednesday, let's be honest about it, is just the new Riverdale. That's already established IP. So it's
Oh, yeah.
interesting to see. That's for sure.
Yep.
Netflix's first original medical procedural, Pulse, has added Nestor Corbadell, Santiago Segura, Ash Santanos, Jessica Ruth, and Arturo del Porrito to its growing cast. The drama series hails from first-time creator Zoe Robin and veteran Carlton Cuse.
Yes.
Pulse follows the staff of Miami's busiest level 1 trauma center as they navigate medical emergencies, centering on young ER doc Danny Sims, who is unexpectedly promoted to chief resident amongst the fallout of her own provocative romantic relationship.
Oh.
Now, in addition to Fitzgerald, Justina Macadaro, Colin Woodrell, Jack Bannon, Jesse T. Usher, Chelsea Murdred, Daniela Rivez, and Jesse Yates will also star in this bad boy. So that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's. Hey, I love Willa Fitzgerald. You guys know her. You love her. Fucking Speedy from Arrow. She's fantastic. So I'm in on this. I'll check it out. It'll be good.
For sure.
Hey, you talked about comedians fleeing Netflix and jumping over to Prime, and you were talking about that and how you were a little concerned about that. But one is not. One is staying home, and I'm talking about Fluffy himself, comedian Gabriel Iglesias. He's apparently inked a deal for 2 more stand-up specials at Netflix. Now, the first new special will tape at Hard Rock Live in Seminole, Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida from July 12th through the 14th. Now, Iglesias' new hours will be his 4th and 5th for Netflix, following the successes, of course, of 2022's Gabriel Iglesias Stadium Fluffy, where the comic made history as the first to headline and sell out Dodger Stadium as part of Netflix's A Joke Fest. His other past specials for the streamer include Gabriel Iglesias, I'm Sorry for What I Said When I Was Hungry, and Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias, One Show Fits All. So I love Fluffy. I'm glad he's staying, because all of his Netflix ones have been fucking hilarious. So I'm thrilled that they're keeping him, and I'm looking forward to the new ones.
They really have, and I'm surprised by this too, because we all watched the Stadium Fluffy together, and I mean, he really made it seem like he was retiring and going to be done.
He did.
So I'm happy to see this too, because I mean, to go back on the road and we could see him live. That would be amazing.
Yes.
I'm super excited about it. Well, we're heading over to Apple to round out the industry news. Apple TV Plus has moved up the premiere date for Presumed Innocent, its upcoming limited series starring and executive produced by Jake Gyllenhaal himself. Now, inspired by Scott Turo's 1990s courtroom thriller, this series is from David E. Kelly, J.J. Abrams, Bad Robot, and Warner Brothers Television. Now will premiere on Wednesday, June 12th, just a few days after its world premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival on June 9th. Now, it originally was scheduled to debut on June 14th, as reimagined by Kelly, who is an attorney by trade. The Presumed Innocent series will explore obsession, sex, politics, and the power and limits of love as the accused fights to hold his family and marriage together. That sounds very interesting. I'm excited about that because, I mean, we saw that one with Chris Evans, which was kind of like a procedural show a little bit. It did really well. And I mean, let's be honest about it. We've talked about it multiple times. Apple TV Plus is all about quantity over quality. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and well, the movie was fantastic. You should check that one out too. Harrison Ford
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really, so I'm excited. He should do a cameo in this. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Right.
And this guy it makes total sense after the success of Masters of the Air. Duh. Callum Turner has been cast in the lead role of the series adaptation of William Gibson's novel Neuromancer at Apple TV Plus. The series was originally announced back in February. Now, per the official description, the 10-episode drama will follow a damaged, top-rung super hacker named Case, who is thrust into a web of digital espionage and high-stakes crime with his partner Molly, a razor girl assassin with mirrored eyes aiming to pull the heist on a corporate dynasty with untold secrets. Now, this will mark the second starring role in an Apple series for Turner, previously who starred in the World War II series, as I just said, Masters of the Air, alongside a cast that also included Austin Butler and Barry Keoghan. Now, the show debuted on the streaming arm of the tech giant earlier this year to massive numbers, so it makes total sense that they hired him for another one.
It really does, man. It really does. Yeah, I'm super excited about today's interview, though. Man, oh man, you guys, much anticipation getting through all the industry news. There was so much going on, but a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But Tommy Schultz, the guy,
Yes.
the myth, the legend, the man who we're jealous of. I mean, who else could be more lucky than him for his first outing working with Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Martin Scorsese? What the hell, man? I'm super jealous.
Oh, and Lily Gladstone.
And Lily Gladstone.
I mean, come on, this guy. And here's the thing. He didn't even want to be an actor.
No.
Not initially. He does now, and I guess so. But, his story is so inspiring, guy. He worked his entire career, and this was just a thing. The wife found out it was going to be filming near where they were at. She said, why don't you go give it a try, see what happens? The rest is history. That is the most amazing story. Wait until you hear it. And by the way, how good is this guy? Well, he can wave on Leo, and Leo came, and he calls Scorsese Marty. That's how good this guy is. I'm just saying. I can't wait for y'all to hear this interview. It's so epic.
So epic. So epic. Well, here he is.
Tommy Schultz, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing today?
Oh, dude, we are living the dream, and we are super excited to talk to you. I think your story's a really interesting one, and I have no doubt the listeners are going to really enjoy hearing all about it and how you got started, and it's going to be amazing, man. It's going to be really amazing. And, I mean, I'm excited. Let's just jump in, because like I said, the story's really, really interesting. I normally start these things and we ask, oh, so how did you get started in acting? Was it something you always kind of wanted to do? But for you, we did doing our research. It's like, it wasn't even on the radar. It was like, it wasn't even a thing. So you just kind of was like, oh, this movie's coming. The wife sent you an email. Talk about that, man. Just talk about the experience of entering into the acting world when you really had no plan to do it. What, talk about that.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole big plan for it. Yeah, I just fell right into it. Man, it just started off with an email. I fought wildland fire for 17 years with the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Wow.
And, after that career ended, I started working for myself. And then a few years go by, and she's worked for my tribe that whole time. And she ended up getting an email, and a big announcement was a big Scorsese film and a big audition happening in Oklahoma City at the time. And she told me to, you're kind of got a flexible schedule. Why don't you get on up there and try out for it? And I've always wanted to be a part of a motion picture. I just didn't know I was going to be a part of it like this.
Oh,
Yeah, most definitely. Because I mean, yeah, your first one out, you're a part of a Martin Scorsese film, like you just said, Killers of the Flower Moon. And then not only that, but the majority of the scenes that you have are with the legendary Leonardo DiCaprio. So you are already able to have this master class of acting and being on set in such a huge grand scale, and the magnitude that you were able to pull off this character was awesome, because you and Leo, your characters had a little beef going on, and you guys were good at sometimes and you were bad at sometimes. So to be able to have that be your first experience with it, I'm sure was amazing, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was, I literally grew up watching Leo. I mean,
Yeah.
my God, it was to keep not fanboying out, I mean, I had to keep it all together, but yeah, it was a great experience. I really couldn't believe I was there with him, to be a part of it with him.
I tell you, like, with so many questions. One, were you able to use your background with the firefighting and everything that you had kind of done over your life? Were you able to utilize or bring any of that into the experience on set and acting, and or how you brought into the character a little bit? Talk about how you go from where you came from and then, okay, now I'm acting against one of the best actors of our generation, and I've never done this before. What can I bring to the table that's going to make this work for me? Talk about that process a little bit.
And I don't know. I think all I had to bring to the table was just be myself. And if any of my training or any of my past career experiences had anything to do with anything, was to keep my calm, to be calm in a high stress situation. And for me, yeah, that was a high stress situation.
No
I
doubt.
mean, I wasn't fighting fire, but I was with some legends. I mean, uh, just discipline and keeping it together is where it all really came from, and just that high stress level and running at that high that RPM, if you will,
Yeah.
that really helped me out. So, especially being away from home, the setup was pretty neat. The when we were on set, out in the field, that was a lot of similarities. Wildland fighting fire with everybody, kind of eating, taking breaks with everybody, get to know everybody. So, yeah, a lot of it was a pretty cool setup. A lot of the logistics part of it.
That's
Nice.
really cool. Yeah, because like I said, you're getting like that on-hand experience of masterclass. And I mean, with there being like, multiple different versions of learning, I myself am a very hands-on person. So to be able to have that type of hands-on experience would probably make me less anxious than I would be going to like, say, an acting class first or going to film school first and then going here because with all of the preparation and schooling and being able to learn the craft, that does also come with a lot of anticipation. And I think that's where a lot of my anxiety comes from is that anticipation time. I would rather much just jump into it. Let's do it. Let's pick up a camera, let's shoot. Let's be with these other like-minded creative individuals, which I mean, you definitely were able to. And let's start at the very beginning of this whole process because you said that, it all started with an email. Your wife did recommend you to send an email and to start that whole process. Did you only have to audition once, or did you have to go back and send in multiple self tapes, or how did that go?
Well, actually, it was a or not a self audition, but a live audition.
Nice.
And I went up to Oklahoma City. I stood in line. I was watching people going to one set of double doors. They were coming out another set of double doors. The line was going really quick. This was kind of on a bucket list I had to do. I wanted to be in a motion picture, but again, like I said, I had no idea I was going to have this part in a
Yeah.
motion picture. So I was, in my mind, I was, man, I'm going to check this off the old bucket list. I've done it. I at least ran through an audition. So as I was going through the line, it was going pretty quick. So I wasn't thinking nothing of it. They got my height, my size, I think my size of my clothes, wardrobe and all that. They took a picture. And after the picture was taken, I was like, man, if that's it, I did it. So I was walking out the double doors, and then someone grabbed me by the arm. They asked me, would you be interested in being in a motion picture? Absolutely. So I went out one set of double doors, right back through another set of double doors. I was given a script, and she said it'll be about 30 45 minutes, and if you can memorize it, it would be best, but if not, don't worry about it. And I went in for the very first audition, and Miss Ellen Lewis was there, and I I just I did it. I said my lines, and she asked right after that if I would be interested in coming back the following day. It all happened on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So I went up Friday. I went back on Saturday. I guess that would be the second callback. So I went in on Saturday. She asked for me to do the lines again of the first audition. I did. And then she asked, would I be willing to do a larger audition for a larger role. I said, sure, why not? I drove up here to do this, so yeah, you bet. So again, they gave me the script, the pieces I needed, and had an assistant sit with me, and we ran through the lines 30, 45 minutes. She asked if I was ready. I said, sure, I'm ready. Let's do this. So I went in there, and it's just a funny audition to me because it had some profanity in it that I was not accustomed to saying in front of women.
Mm-hmm.
And as I went and did the second callback, it was Miss Renee Haynes, Ellen Lewis, and their host staff was up there, and it was nothing but women sitting on the other side of me with the camera. And I'm sitting here kind of going, well, if I want to do this, I've got to, I got to say it. So I ran through the lines, I ran through the script, and she said, perfect. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And she told me, we'll be getting a hold of you. We'll call you or text you or something. We'll be getting a hold of you, email, whatever. I said, great, perfect. And that was it. The weekend was over. I went home. And then that Monday is when COVID hit, and then it shut down everything.
Yep.
So it was over with. I thought it was over with. Everything was postponed for a while. So it was a whole year, almost exactly a whole year. I believe the audition was in October, and they called me back in November, or vice versa, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to work. You still gotta pay bills.
Yep.
I don't care if
Exactly.
COVID going on or not. So I went back to work for a whole year, almost a whole year. I'm thinking, well, they'd have called me by now. I didn't think anything of it. Just went by a whole year. And one day I get a phone call, and on your cell phone, it's either spam, risk, or something,
Mm-hmm.
or just a total different county or state. And it said New York. And I said, man, I don't know nobody from New York. I'm thinking spam or something. So I hang up. I go back to work. I'm sitting there cleaning the floors and all this, and then I think it took me about 10 or 15 minutes, and I go, you know what? I do know somebody from New York, so let me call them back. And sure enough, it was Miss Ellen Lewis's office. She asked again if I was interested in the role, and I said yes. And she said, okay, we're going to set up a couple more auditions. And I had a few more with her, and then the last audition was with Marty and Leo, and it was Zoom, of course. At that time, it was over Zoom. So I got ready for the audition, and that day, like I said in another interview, I was surprised they didn't catch me on the floor just fainted out. So it was something that I had Marty. I tell everybody I had Marty and Leo in my living room. So
first of all, I love that you got to experience old school and now how it's done. Because since COVID, it's all, there's no more cattle calls. There's no more walking into rooms. It's all Zoom now. So the fact that you got to experience for the very first time doing it, the cattle call, walking in the room, getting the measurements, doing that, and the Zoom call process, that's first of all, that's amazing. And I kind of get this vibe that you're an old school guy because you keep calling it a motion picture, which I love. You're not saying, I wanted to be in the movie. I wanted to be, it's motion picture, which fantastic, because I love that. I'm old school too. But
all right.
So did you find it difficult to do, because that read with, and can we just say the fact that you can call him Marty, kind of jealous. Mr. Scorsese, I'd still be Mr. Scorsese, but you go with Marty. That's awesome. Was it a bit more challenging to kind of do the chemistry read? Because for all of our listeners out there who might not be familiar, by the time you get to that stage, it's chemistry. They're checking to make sure that the chemistry is there between you and the lead, because you're going to be in that scene. So did you think that process was a little bit more difficult via Zoom? Do you think you would have rather have done that in person, or talk about that a little bit? Because sometimes that's not easy.
Yeah, I thought doing it from being live with Miss Lewis and doing it in front of them was, I did like it a lot better, just, because they could see you.
Yeah.
And when you did it over Zoom, you kind of have a barrier, kind of like this right here, just like you said, you don't get that If it is it going to work? Is it not going to work? You know,
Right.
you don't get that live feeling. But I mean, Miss Lewis and Miss Renee Haynes, they work for Marty for a reason, and you know, Marty put all their trust in them. And I mean, and all I could do was just be myself and go. So, um, and what you're getting is who you get every day from Tommy Schultz anyway. So I don't try to mask anything. So, you know, this is who I am, and this is who you get. So I was just being myself and trying not to faint as we did this beautiful audition together. So it was, I would have preferred live and face to face, but you know, you got to trust the experts on this. I'm
That's
just
right.
starting.
Well, you're doing great. You're doing great. That's for sure. And someone else who is really doing great, especially from this film, Killers of the Flower Moon, was the one and only Miss Lily Gladstone. She absolutely, she made the film for me. She completely, every scene she was in, she stole the picture. That's for sure. So talk about her influence on set and then how that also expose the Native American community to a more wider audience as well, because I feel like everybody who has been watching the award season all the way up, even past the Oscars, was learning so much about the Native American culture through Lily. So it was such an amazing experience to be able to see everything that she stood for and the amount of exposure that was given to your culture was absolutely amazing. So talk about how that whole experience you feel like possibly changed people looking for these type of roles, right?
Oh yeah. You know, it was during COVID, so we didn't get to really mingle a lot, but I did get
Right.
to meet Lily. We get to talk a little bit. But I think we got to talk more after COVID, of course, than we did the movie. But for for you know, Marty to tell the story the way he does and to captivate it the way he does and to open up eyes the way he does and to involve the Native American, the Osage Nation, and all the natives that were involved, such as myself, the Chickasaw Nation, being a Chickasaw native myself, you know, it, I, I hope and feel that it has opened up a lot more for everybody across the country a little bit, that, or anyone that's seen the movie a little bit, that maybe they want to get a little bit more interested in their surroundings. Because man, all lower 48 states and Alaska, they've all got native tribes somewhere, you know,
Yep.
some kind of history. And uh, I think, you know, stories like this tell atrocities. And I've said this before, you know, all of our tribes, we all have a trail of tears, you know.
Hmm.
They're all a little different, but they're all still a trail of tears, and they're just haven't been told
Mm.
like the Osage Nation story got to be told, and that was very, oh man, mind blowing for me, and very eye opening also, as well as being a Native American, because being in Oklahoma, we were never told this history of the Osage Nation, and that's one of the biggest nations in Oklahoma.
Right.
Uh, you don't hear about for your Oklahoma history or anything like that. You continuously hear about the same old history, nothing
Yep.
different.
Yep.
So even at this time, the Tulsa riots was brought kind of a little to light. You know, Marty
Hmm.
brought them in there a little bit, and at the same time, all this was happening, all that was happening. So it was very, very eye opening for me just to experience. And I went back and I started reading up on the Osage Nation too. You know, it was so interesting. You live in a state your whole life, and you don't get told the whole story about the whole state, or just a little part of it. So I hope it inspired a lot of people to just kind of dwell a little bit deeper into, you know, where they're at, where they're living at, and what's happened around them before they even got there.
Mm.
Mm.
Well,
There's a bigger story to everything.
so Logan and I talk about this all the time amongst ourselves and with our guests and stuff. You know, if we can use this platform, art, to educate and start conversations and clue people in to start talking about things that they wouldn't normally talk about, then that's a great tool. If we can entertain and educate, That's the best of both worlds. And I feel like this film definitely did that. Like you said yourself, you went back and started going, whoa, I got to learn more about this. I didn't know about this, or I didn't talk about, So I love when films do that. And what a benefit for you, because this was a passion project for Scorsese. He was like something that he had been wanting to do and tell this story for such a long time, and to finally see it happen and then be a part of that. And I'm also very curious, because you're the first person that we've talked to that's worked with Marty. What type of a director is he? Is he a very actor-friendly director? Does he give you some leeway, or is he very strict to what he wants? Talk about that a little bit with Marty, and then same thing with Leo. How is he as a scene partner? Is he very forgiving? Does he work with, or is he like, get it right, say your lines kind of? What was that like?
Let's start with Marty first. Marty, very friendly, very actor friendly. I felt he was. They treated me very well. He was very loose. I'm not going to say loose. That's the wrong term. But he gave me the freedom. He did give the actors the freedom. If it sounded okay, then try it this way. If you had an idea, he'd listen to you and go, all right, it's either no or yes. I mean,
Yep.
I asked a couple of times, and I mean, you can't be scared to ask somebody about something. It's either no or yes. It's not chop your head off and you're gone. So he was very actor friendly, I felt, and very welcoming and warming to me. I mean, shoot, there was people calling him Uncle Marty out there for the entire time. So I just got to call him Marty. So
Yeah.
I didn't get to call him Uncle Marty, but Marty. But Leo was good. He was very friendly with me. He was very encouraging. For the most part, and he had some advice for me too. He's had some suggestions for me also, and it kind of went back and forth. I think about the card playing scene, the poker scene. When we're behind the scenes there, we were me and a couple of the other guys that were on the poker table. We were figuring out, well, what game are we playing? What game are we supposed to be playing? And so we're sitting off set, trying to figure it out. And then one of the guys, Bo Smith, sit there and asked, I think that's Leo over there in his car. I guess he was in his vehicle waiting. And I didn't notice. I thought he was just messing with me. So I turned around. I said, well, tell him to get over here. He's got to play this card game too. And so I just turned over to the vehicle, waved him over, and I was just jacking around. I try to keep things lighthearted. And next thing I know, Leo jumps out of the vehicle, comes walking over, and we start going over the card game. And then he goes, well, what a card game exactly is it supposed to be? When the A piece gets on the horn, he finds out what card game, and we sit there and we make up the whole card game. We sit there and he's really interacting with all of us, and we throw the cards down. This is what this guy's going to have to win, and this is what Leo loses with. And it was very, very awesome. Shoot, again, try not to fanboy out.
Yeah.
Sitting there playing cards with us.
Yeah. It's awesome. That's incredible.
Phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
I love that too, because Leonardo DiCaprio is my favorite actor. So I love to hear that he's actually a good person too, because you never know in Hollywood. I mean, right? I mean, there is that dark side of Hollywood where people let the fame and the ego and everything get to them, especially when they were doing this when they were very, very young, like himself. So that's very awesome to hear that he's still a humble human being that is able to take the craft very seriously, but also still able to have fun and still able to create different things in his head to be able to brainstorm with his fellow cast and crew to be able to come up with this card game. I think that's so freaking cool. But something that we really like to do that rounds out our interviews that I think is really going to be good for this conversation specifically is our popcorn questions. Now, this is 5 different questions that have to do with your life in particular, and of course the shooting of the film in the movie, and to be able to get it to come to fruition. And this first one is kind of different from the ones we've done in the past, but I'm just very curious with the magnitude of this set, with the cast that you have: Leonardo DiCaprio, freaking Robert De Niro, huge, and I mean so many others. Were you intimidated your first day on set?
I think I was more intimidated by the cold first day on set. But yeah, absolutely, I was intimidated. Absolutely. Uh, I how can you not be intimidated? I mean, they pick a guy out of a crowd of 2,500 people, and they pick me. Of course, I was intimidated. Absolutely,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
intimidated and blessed at the same time.
There we go.
Okay. So this, I'm really curious for the answer for this one because you come right out of the gate and you got Bobby De Niro, Marty Scorsese, and Leo DiCaprio. So this is going to seem like an odd question, but we've got to know the answer now. If you could work with anyone in the future,
Oh wow!
who would it be? Because I mean, it's hard to Bobby, and I feel like how do you top that? But who would you want to work with in the future if you could?
How about this? How about this? I would love to work with anybody who would love to work with me and give me an opportunity.
That's a
How about
great answer. That is a phenomenal answer. I love that.
It is. I really do. That one and one of our other past guests that we've had on this year, he said, I just want to work with my friends. That's all. If we're having fun, if we're living life, if we're being creative and being able to stretch that creative muscle, that's really all that matters. As long as we're happy at the end of the day,
Yep.
that's all that matters, man. That's all that
That's it
matters.
right there. I just want to work and entertain and, make people feel good about themselves or make them hate me as a victim or an outlaw,
Right.
whatever.
That's right.
Yes. Which you did great, by the way. You're a great outlaw. You're a great outlaw. Um, this one's kind of interesting. I'm really curious too, because I'm assuming you're going to continue to try to act, right? Are you going to continue to try to move forward with this career path?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm gonna have to be honest with you guys. I tried to update my bio last night so I could give y'all some good information, and I don't know what happened on I don't, it was horrible. So it was a horrible bio, I thought, but the one I redid and thought it saved was excellent. But the information I did, yes, absolutely, I want to continue this. And I just recently got finished making a movie with Lou Diamond Phillips in February called Keep Quiet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. This guy's killing it. You're killing it,
Yeah,
man.
talk about another legend. That's awesome.
So, there you go. If I was to say anybody, Lou Diamond Phillips would have been the number 2 guy right there.
There you
man.
go.
There it is.
Already knocked it out. So
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna get deep with this one though, because this one we always are very curious because your story is amazing. So I really would like to know if you could go back in time and tell your 10-year-old self something, what would you say?
I'd tell him, go ahead and go to drama class, man. Just try it out.
Get started a little earlier, huh?
Get started a little early, just try it out and see what happens.
I love that, man. I love that. That's so
Right,
awesome.
because I mean, you're not afraid to try things.
No.
Like you said, the 17 years as a firefighter, and I saw you did a little mixed martial arts. I mean, that was very interesting as well. So like, I'm curious too. Like, was that something just a little bit more of like a passion thing? Did you want to try it out? Did you want to channel some energy any type of way? How did that come about? I'm curious.
Well, actually, I was doing it while I was a wildland firefighter. And to be quite honest, guys, I used to weigh 260 pounds. Believe it
Wow.
or not. Yeah, I'm down to 175, and I've kept it down for quite a while. And it really just became I wanted to stay fit, a little more fit, and get in shape. And a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, of course, if you're fighting wildfire.
Sure.
And that replaced a lot of it, especially when my job ended. It really replaced a lot of that high intense stress level, if you will. And I saw it as a kid when I watched Hoist Gracie in his first UFC.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he never threw a punch. If I want to be totally honest, that's when I first fell in love with jiu-jitsu. I saw him choke a dude with his gi, and the dude tapped out. You're like, what? He didn't even throw a punch?
Exactly.
It was like black magic, man. And so, of course, life happens, and through the years, stuff takes its place. And I finally found it. There was a gentleman that brought it to Ada. We jumped into the class. We jumped into the gym, and it was a wildfire from there. And I just am passionate about it and love it.
Yeah.
I recently this year it was in my bio I rewrote, but this year actually on January 1, 2024, me and a friend of mine, Matt Lindy, we opened up our own martial arts gym called Level Ground
Wow.
Jiu-Jitsu here in Ada.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Congratulations. And congratulations on losing the weight too, because
Oh,
I
thank you.
mean, Dustin and myself also battle with, weight problems, and we're trying to get that under control, being more with exercising and eating better and all the good things,
Yeah,
because mental health is a big thing for us, and we know that exercise plays heavily into one's mental health. So I mean, like we
absolutely.
said, congratulations on that, man. That's a big, big freaking step. And I know you're very early on yet, but the last question is, are you happy with your career so far?
Yeah, I'm happy with my career. Absolutely. I'm just trying to take it slow and just flow with the river, what's coming. I've had quite a few auditions, I mean, you're not going to get every audition, of course, but I'm still auditioning. I'm still, putting myself out there. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
I love that.
no, yeah, that's the right attitude, because we hear it all the time. The job is auditioning. The getting the gig is just the extra. You're right. If you're an actor, the job is auditioning, because it's 99% auditioning, and then you get the role. And I think though that just hearing you talk, you clearly have a passion for it. You clearly have enjoyed it, and what you're doing. So I think you're going to be extremely successful moving forward in the future. You're going to see a lot of success continue. One, because I think it's the right attitude. You bring in, you say, I'm just going to be myself. I'm Tommy. I'm coming as Tommy. I'm going to just do what I do. And I think that's how you keep it real as an actor and see success. And I love that you said that Marty's like that. Like, he's not going to chop your head off. You just say, if it sounds good and it works, yes. If it doesn't, no. It's a yes or no. It's not anything bad. So I think your approach is fantastic, and I think it's going to just continue to lead to much success for you. And yeah, just congratulations, man. What an inspiring story to be able to come out and just say, hey, 2,500 people, no problem. Got this.
Got this.
I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic,
Thank
man.
you guys. Thank y'all so much, man. It's, won the lottery, I guess. I don't know.
Ah, dude. Us too with this interview,
great.
man. Us too with this
Yeah,
interview. You've been
seriously.
absolutely awesome to talk to.
Exactly. We like to talk about different pieces of advice that we've learned throughout our years of doing this podcast. And one of the key crucial ones that we learned from one of our past guests, because we've been doing this for about 157 episodes, and you are guests like 213, 214, something like that, around there. And one of the biggest pieces of advice specifically for actors came from a fellow actor named Tony Winters, and he thinks about the casting process kind of like a car dealership. And so you're a car, and a casting agent or a producer or a director, they're the person looking for a car. And you're a BMW, and maybe that day they're looking for a Mercedes. But don't worry, because there's going to be people coming around that are looking for that BMW. So that's a great way to think about it, to keep your spirits high and to keep moving forward. I've always loved that piece of advice. So I just wanted to pass that along to you, with you being a newer actor. But I mean, it looks like you don't need any advice, man. You're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good.
Well, I will take that piece of advice. I like that. That is very good. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I love that. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute blast. Open invite. Anytime you ever want to come back on the show to promote anything, or, just talk. We talk about the industry news every single week. We have a top 5 segment that we do. Top 5 Leonardo DiCaprio movies have been one of our top 5 one time. And we just like to have fun. So open invite. Anytime you ever want to come back on, please don't hesitate to reach out. I think we just followed you on Instagram, so you can direct message us there. But yeah, I'm super excited to watch your career grow.
Oh, thank you very much. And hey, open invite to you guys too. If you're ever in Oklahoma, come by the gym, man.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I think we need to hire this guy, Logan. I think we need to cast him in something, because we're filmmakers also. So we've got a lot of projects in development, and I want this guy on set, man. I think he'd be a blast, man.
Come on, I'm ready.
Yeah, and we'll shoot it in Oklahoma. Like, I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer. Let's go.
Exactly.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
Of course. Well, listen, man, again, thank you again so much. Take care, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Thank y'all for having me, man. It was a pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity.
Of course,
Of
man.
course, of course. Have a great rest of your night.
You too. See you guys later.
All right, now talk about inspiring, man. That guy. I mean, first time out, working on such an amazing, huge film, and then getting cast in his next film with Lou Diamond Phillips. I'm really
mean,
excited to watch this guy's career grow.
I think just an amazing, amazing story, and I really do think it's cool because how many people get to say your first time out that you got to experience how it used to be and now what's the norm, right?
Right.
You know, if you've been doing it for a long time, of course, because you knew how it was and you had to transform into what it is. But for your first time out to go, oh yeah, I got the last tail end of this and then I'm all in on this new stuff. I mean, that's amazing. And also, I think one thing that any of our people that are trying to get into the industry as an actor should take away from what he said: never be scared to ask a question. Never, if it's Marty fucking Scorsese or first time director, don't be scared to ask a question because, like he said, it's a yes or no. That's the worst that can happen. It's a yes or a no. I thought that was really solid advice. That this guy, it's the first time he's ever on a set, first acting gig ever, and he's saying something to Marty, saying, "You mind if I try this a little different?" Marty fucking Scorsese. That's fucking fantastic, bro.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Well, Tommy, thank you again for coming on the show. All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, man. And boy, oh boy, we teased it a little bit earlier.
Yes!
We've been watching a lot of stuff, so we want to talk about our top 5 shows that we're currently watching. And I'm sure a lot of you know because we tweet back and forth, we talk about them all the time. We watch a lot of the same stuff. So, of course, there are going to be 2 duplicates because they're so dang good. There could have been more.
Oh, there could have totally been more.
We're trying to keep it easy. But I mean, number 5, we've talked about it multiple times. And I think, it just keeps getting better and better. Like, it's been on the air for what, 45 seasons? Something like that?
Yeah, this is 46, right? Like, so, yeah.
It's insane. We're talking about the one and only Survivor.
Yes.
Man, I mean, I love how this season specifically, like, the contestants are messing with Jeff more.
Yeah,
right? They're like poking fun at him. I think that's hilarious. But I've really been enjoying this season. It's been very interesting because it seems it's different. They try to change it up every season, but of course, there a couple seasons span where things kind of feel the same, just with different people. But this season feels different than the last ones we've watched in the past years, so it's been really entertaining.
It has been, and Jeff's playing right into that whole poking on him. He's calling him out now. You're going to be the first ones out, and, if I'm wrong, I'll own it, but I think that's how it's going to go. Or he's finally owning up that he owns the island, basically.
Yeah, right.
Because he said that in this last episode, he's like, I wouldn't invite you to my house and not give you popcorn. Yeah, because it is his fucking house. Exactly. The fucking tribal council and the sanctuary and all that, that's fucking his house. Like, when they get voted off, they get to go take a shower in his guest house. I guarantee you that's where they go. Because, like, fuck, man. This guy, for anybody who doesn't know, decided just up and over these 24 years that it's been on, at some point said, I really like this locale, and we're shooting it here from now on. And he lives there, and so, but I guess after 24 years, you can say whatever you fucking want to, and they're going to do it, right?
Well, what was it, a couple weeks ago, a couple episodes ago, he was like, I'm not going anywhere. So without Jeff, there is no Survivor. He's gonna be there for the duration of the entire show.
Totally, and he's having more fun than he ever has. That's what he said. And look, I saw too recently. They're asking him because coming up next year, they're gonna hit the 50th season and 25 years. And they asked him, "What's the big thing? You guys got to have something massive for 50 seasons." And he's like, "We don't. We're talking about it, but none of us have a clue yet. We really legitimately don't know what we're going to do for season 50. Right. But I can only imagine it's going to be fucking epic. I mean, it's so good, though. Hunter, bro, what? You said the whole time you were going to take it out of your pocket. The whole fucking time. I'm going to play it no matter what. And then you got fucking Venus fucking spanked your ass. Oh, right. Have you watched this week's?
No.
Oh my goodness! Just wait. That little skinny boy, she played Hunter hard, man. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. Okay. Our number 4. We were talking about this. Duh! It's a fucking amazing show. We love everybody that stars on it. It's a great cast. It's a great series. They have awesome guest stars coming in, like in and out, and it's amazing. We're talking about Tracker. If you guys don't know, it's basically about Justin Hartler's Coulter Shaw has some shady shit that went on with his family. Okay, they were both professors, and then something happened that caused Dad to get all paranoid and go off grid. And he taught them how to survive off grid and all this kind of stuff. And then something happened with Dad. We think maybe the brother killed him, but we don't know. That's what they're hinting at. But anyway, so now he travels across the country finding missing people and using those survival skills to make a living or whatever. But I love it. I love the premise of going from state to state, town to town, and interweaving with different types of personalities and people. And he's got his clique though. He's got Reenie and he's got his boy, and so he's not alone. And he's got his two moms, I guess, or yeah, they're not his moms, but they serve as like a surrogate mother, if you will. I just love it. I love this type of a show because you get all this juicy, it's new every week, but then you also have the backstory that's procedural and carrying on. So you get a new locale and a new story every week, but you also get the procedural shit that I love when they do that. I love it.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's so much fun because yeah, there is kind of like a I guess you can follow the footsteps of the episode. You kind of know how like the story part, the procedural part will play out sometimes. And, specifically the last couple weeks, I'm like, man, they haven't really touched a lot on his backstory here recently. But then you saw the casting of his sister and then you saw the casting of his brother. You're like, oh, some good stuff is coming up.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's some good stuff, man. It's definitely one because, I feel like right now it's kind of hard to find shows that you can watch as a family and watch with, the whole grouping of people. And I mean, of course, it's PG-13 basically. So it's nothing too crazy, but it's still, TV-14. It does it very well and very tastefully to where you're like, okay, this isn't bad. You don't have to turn it off when the kids come in the room.
Yeah.
So I always appreciate those type of shows as well because there's so many good shows out there right now that kind of they do get a little risque to where you do have to kind of like ride the line of, okay, pause, start.
For sure.
I'm glad that Tracker is one of those where you can just leave it on the whole time, right?
Yeah, totally. And it's full of eye candy.
It is.
If we're just being honest, like everybody on the show is fucking attractive. Like it's
beautiful.
Ridiculous. It's Justin Hartley, Jensen Ackles, Fiona Renee. They're all fucking beautiful. Like so, it's just it's a fun show. You want to watch. You tune in. You just feel good afterwards. Even when it's a story that's like about all kinds of bad shit, you still feel good when you're watching it. And so yeah, man, it's a
true.
great show. It's a great show. Tracker, check it out.
Agree.
It's the highest rated show on television right now. So there you go. It's kicking
killing
ass.
It, man. Number 3 for me goes to The Gentleman. That's on Netflix right now. I'm just gonna be honest about it. Guy Ritchie is becoming like one of my. He's at least in the top 10 right now because he's been putting out a lot of good stuff.
He has been
really steady recently. I mean, ever since the Gentleman movie that he put out a couple years ago, I've been like, okay, let's keep an eye on him because I was always a big fan of Snatch with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
So I was already a fan. But then, I mean, you go back. I haven't seen Revolver yet, which I know is like that's his first big one. So I'm really excited to go back. But I mean, he's got stuff like Aladdin, and then The Covenant we recently just watched with Jake Gyllenhaal. That was amazing. And you just recently saw The Ministry of the Ungentlemanly Warfare that you really liked.
Fucking really good.
So he's been really consistent recently. I love that. But The Gentleman, like I said, there is a movie that he did, and the series is a little bit different because in the movie he's not a duke, but in the show he's a duke that inherits his father's wealth. He inherits his father's land, and then he kind of just falls into the drug trade and the weed game to where he's like, okay, I'll just keep this thing going instead of, like selling it off. And I think it's interesting too because it plays with the idea of, you know, gaining that notoriety, gaining that living life on the edge. And what do you do with that opportunity? Do you keep doing that or do you try to shut it off and still be a normal person? So it's kind of like it's a social experiment type of show that you see. And I mean, the cast is absolutely amazing. Theo James from the Divergent movies is the
Mm-hmm.
lead in this thing, and he's really freaking good. But it's very funny. It's very witty. It's definitely one of those that you do have to pause and start when somebody comes in the room. But I love it, and I'm really enjoying it because Guy Ritchie's original guy, Vinnie Jones, like all the way back from Revolver, and he used to be like the biggest thing as far as like those type of UK,
Yeah, yeah.
hitman shows or hitman movies. Um, he's getting older. He's not that leading guy anymore. He can't be. So I love that Guy Ritchie gave him this really decent, juicy supporting role. Like, hey, you're my guy. I'm sticking with you no matter what. So I really respect that because we have certain people like that who we want to continue working with in the
Oh, for
entertainment
sure.
industry. But it's a really good show. It's really entertaining. So yeah, The Gentleman, my number 3.
And Guy Ritchie overcame, like, he started strong and then he had that horrible mishap with Madonna and,
Yeah.
like, almost killed his career, but he was able to overcome it, get back on track, and, like, because
Yeah.
that was a big misstep. My number 3, I'm all in on this. I'm fucking loving every week that I'm watching it. It's a Greg Berlanti series, and it combines the three things that I love. Three things that I love. Film and television, obviously, because we're in the film and television industry, and we just love that. And it's a brilliant show. It's directed brilliantly. The cast is phenomenal. The storytelling, it's just outstanding. And then the subject matter is politics and journalism. The three things I love: film, journalism, and politics. Those are my three things that I'm all in on my whole life. I'm talking about The Girls on the Bus, starring Melissa Benoist. This is fucking phenomenal. It's about journalists on the bus. As you guys know, when journalists follow the candidates wherever they go across the countries during the primaries all the way up to the election, and they that's their gig. And this is based on a true story of a woman. The creator and showrunner of this show was a journalist on the bus during the Hillary Clinton stuff back in the day. And so it's based on true stories, but fictionalized. But it's just phenomenal. The cast, and it merges like all these old type thing. Like the one is a social media influencer who just basically is like, this is who you got to go. We do news now, and they're like, she ain't a fucking real journalist, and she doesn't like them. But then they kind of get a respect for each other. And then Melissa Benoist works for the like most successful newspaper kind of a thing. And then there's one of the journalists that works for like a Fox News type station, and she's the Republican, and everybody's like, you're the Republican, because she's a wealthy black woman, and they're like, you're a fucking Republican, what are you talking about, kind of. But just the dynamics and the background stories, and just like it's just phenomenal. It's so well done, and it's taking a stark look at the political landscape that we're in right now, and the transition of journalism, shying away from newspaper and print and kind of going more to clickbait, and how is that affecting what you see and don't see. So it's just a really brilliant show following everything that's kind of happening in the world today, and it's doing it in such a creative way. And then they've all got their backstories, of course, and it's just, yeah, huge fan. I would highly recommend it. And Melissa Benoist, probably the most favorite thing I've ever seen her in. She does not get enough credit of how good an actress she really is. She is unbelievable in this series. She's just, if she doesn't get an Emmy nomination, I'd be shocked. There you go. I'm just saying it. The Girls on the Bus. Check it out. It's on Max.
There it is, man. There it is. My number two goes to Fire Country, another CBS show. CBS is putting out a lot of good content
so
right
much
now, if
good
you
stuff.
haven't been able to tell. This follows a young convict, and he joins a firefighting program looking to redeem himself and shorten his prison sentence. He and other inmates work alongside elite firefighters to extinguish massive blazes across the region. And there's so much drama. There's family drama that dives into it. But this has an amazing cast. Max Terriot, who you've probably seen in like The Pacifier and Bates Motel and a couple of different things. Jordan Calloway, who is in Black Lightning. Kevin Alejandro, Stephanie Arcila, and so many others. Billy Burke, Diane Farr. It's an amazing cast with some juicy storyline. It's so good that we actually have gone back and have started rewatching season 1 because it's just so freaking amazing.
And now Morena Baccarin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's so many freaking I love that too. I love how they're sisters. That was so freaking
and that's
awesome.
such great casting because that dynamic between the two of them is fucking incredible. And she's the one we've talked about it on this show. They're apparently talking about spinning that character off into her own show and following that sheriff's department. Yeah. I think that would be a huge move, and then you could do the crossovers every now and then, and just, dude, right there.
And freaking, Deadpool's girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Emily was like, what do I know her from? I'm like, that's Vanessa. That's Deadpool's girl.
And Gotham. She was on Gotham. That's where she met, the hubby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the OC. Awesome, they actually first met on the OC way back in the day, and he didn't give her the time of day. She thought he was a dick. Funny. Now they're married. Like, go figure, right?
A little TV Hollywood trivia for you guys. But yeah, Fire Country is an amazing show. It's another one that you can watch with the family. But it's one of those that it's so good. The writing is so phenomenal. Definitely worth jumping on. So number 2 for me, Fire Country.
Oh yeah, right there with you. My number 2, speaking of jumping on, I jumped on late. Everybody kept telling me how great this show was. Everybody, talked about, if you're not watching this, if you're not watching that. I'm talking about The Cleaning Lady with Elektra herself, Elodie Young, who played Elektra in the Daredevil series. This show is fucking intense. It's so good, and I'm so mad that the main male star died from cancer because now they're trying to have to figure out how they're navigating past that. But it's basically about a surgeon from the Philippines who comes here because her son needs a kidney transplant and she can't get it over there. And she comes here and she's not allowed to be a doctor because she can't get her medical license over here. She's undocumented and the kid is basically dying. And so she's a cleaning lady. She's working as a cleaning lady, cleaning casinos and doing all this kind of stuff. And she basically witnesses a murder. And they catch her, and they're like, the only way you're going to stay alive is if you clean up this shit, and then you're going to be my cleaner. You're going to clean up shit when I need you to clean it up. You'd love it because it's modern day gangsters. They're mafia. They're gun runners and drug runners, and they own a casino, and they're filtering the money through the casinos. FBI is after them. It all takes place in Vegas. But you've got the whole drama of what would a parent do to save her child's life. Right. And this is what she ends up doing. But the bad guy, the gangster, he's actually a good guy. And he finds out about the son and he helps her with the son and they sort of kind of have a relationship but kind of don't have a relationship kind of a thing because he's married but he's not really. And then it's just so much. And then she's double in it because the FBI guy's a really good guy too, but he's fucked up. And so she's just caught between the two of them and they're both kind of using her for what they want to use her for. But, dude, it's so good. And so I binge watched the hell out of the first 2 seasons and now I'm on the current season. And, oh my gosh, it's so good. If you guys haven't jumped on this one, it's on Fox and then Hulu the next day. The Cleaning Lady. And again, Elodie Young. Fuck, man. Just a phenomenal actress. You could see it, little hints of it in Elektra. But this show, I don't know how she's not winning Emmys every fucking year. She's amazing in this show. Just, jump on that shit. The Cleaning Lady.
Nice. Yes, for sure. Number 1 for me right now, it's a documentary mini-series, and it is on HBO Max. I always call it HBO Max.
I know. I know.
And it's called The Power of Film. Of course, we are filmmakers.
Yes.
And this dives deep into the art of storytelling by examining and defining principles and inner workings of the most popular and memorable American films of all time. So it's very much a character study of different people that are the main title characters of each film. Like,
Nice.
for example, the one I just watched was heroes and villains, and how, sometimes you bounce back and forth between being a hero and villain. But Howard Stubert is the host, and he is actually a professor of film and television, and he also talks about the human mind and the human reaction to certain things. So it's always an interesting character study on, characters from certain huge Hollywood films. So
Sure.
it's been very awesome to watch. It's one of those that I start watching when I go to the gym. When I walk on the treadmill, I just put that on and just go through it. So it's been very awesome to start my day off that way. It's very inspiring. But yeah, man, I'm loving every second of it. You should definitely check it out after you're done. But
Oh,
it's
I
only six
definitely-
episode. But yeah, the power of film.
Nice. Okay. My number one, first of all, anybody who knows us for a long period of time, I talk about it all the time. I'm huge into the Japanese culture. It's on my bucket list of places to go and things to do. I have a sword collection. I'm just really into the culture, and especially ancient Japan, old school. And I was skeptical. We talked about it on this very show when we announced that they were doing this. I said, the miniseries back in the day with Richard Chamberlain was so good. Do you want to touch this? I don't think it's a good idea. I was wrong. This show, Shogun, is one of the best television shows I have seen in the last 30 or 40 years. It is absolutely phenomenal. So far exceeds the original miniseries, just blows it out of the water. I liken it to The Last Samurai in the fact of how authentic it is. The production design on this is fucking incredible. It's you'd think you were just there in Imperial Japan. Like it's so beautiful. And the star of it is like, he's classic bad guy. You've seen him in all kinds of bad guy roles as the bad Oriental guy, blah, blah, blah. But his condition was it has to be authentic. We're not going to dub it. We're not going to talk English. We fucking talk Japanese. And the costumes have to be authentic and how they... It's so incredible. And it's, of course, about this guy, Toranaga, who eventually becomes shogun and takes over the run of Japan. And it's in a battle between tribes and families and who's gonna... And it's just... It's so well done. As far as the writing, the direction, the acting, the production design, the detail of which they told every episode, it's just... I have never been so happy to be wrong about something. This thing just blew me out of the water. If you have any interest at all in Japan or that culture, or just you love a good story with great fucking storytelling and beautiful visuals, this is it. You got to dive on this. Every week it was so pretty to watch. Even when they're fucking slashing heads and it's all bloody, it's beautiful to look at. And I'm just like, holy shit. Yeah, my number one, Shogun. And I hate that it ended. It's over. I watched it all. And they had the series finale. And I'm just like, fuck, because it's so good. Anyway. And it's on Hulu, guys. It's on Hulu. So check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what shows are you watching right now? Be sure to comment below in the YouTube comment section, the podcast section, or of course, be sure to add us on Threads or X at JLoganAustin and at Crazy Ant CEO. We love the fan interaction. It's always fun to get your guys' opinions and things like that. Well, we're heading over to the box office recap. Like we talked about in the industry news, Civil War still retained that number one spot with 11 million. Abigail with 10 million at number 2. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire with 9.5 million.
Yes.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, 9 million.
Yep.
That's that Guy Ritchie one. And what a freaking name.
Oh, yeah.
Spy and Family Code. White came in at number 5 with 4.9 million. Yeah, new movies that are coming out this week, though, of course, are challengers. We're talking about possibly taking over that number 1 spot, which probably will.
Oh, yeah.
Babylicious, Bloodline Killer, Infested, and Alien got re-released for the 45th anniversary.
Yeah.
So that's very fun. And then movies you can still go see right now, like Monkey Man, Dune Part 2, The First Omen, Arthur and the King, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, and a couple of other ones in select theaters near you. I know right now near me there's like this anime movie that got released. I forget what it's called, though. Heading over to the IMDb Pro top trending segment. Man, oh man, like it's been a very interesting week. That's for sure.
Oh,
When it comes to IMDb Pro. The top trending movie is still Civil War. I mean, this word of mouth is crazy. Everybody's talking about this thing. So y'all should be prepared if you want to see it. There's a lot of crazy shit and a lot of like intense scenes. But yeah, be prepared for that.
Are we talking about challengers? No. Dude,
Yeah,
the
right.
last 2 films that I've seen, you just have to go in mentally prepared to watch them because you will see some shit. That's all I'm saying, man. It's just, woo.
Yeah, right. The top trending TV show is Fallout on Amazon Prime. I've heard this one is pretty good. This is a video game adaptation. And the top trending TV star is Ella Purnell, who is
In Fallout. Yeah, she's the star of Fallout. Yeah.
Yep. So
And Yellow Jackets. For anybody who doesn't know, she's Jackie in Yellow Jackets. And so, well, she's dead now. But yeah, that's where.
R.I.P. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Spoiler
yeah.
alert.
Oh, crap. If you haven't seen it, too bad.
Yeah, you know, she does. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 257. It's crazy that we've been doing it that long.
That's
it's
so
special.
nuts. 300 is going to be right around the corner before we know it. I cannot
That's
believe
insane.
that. Just.
Yeah, I know, right? Rocking and rolling, man. Rocking and rolling. We got to thank our guest one more time, Tommy Schultz, for coming on the show. Be sure to follow him, Schultz_Tommy on Instagram. And of course, be sure to follow the company and podcast on social media at Crazy Ant Media, at ITCAFpodcast, and be sure to follow our other mental health podcasts as well, at Everything's OKP, where we did release a new episode about masking emotions with fellow filmmaker J.S. Mayank, who we've had on this show before. So be sure to check that out. He does talk about his new short film, Week. So that was very interesting. And upcoming, he will be coming back on this show to talk about a new horror film that he's working on.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very fun. We're very excited about that. But then, of course, guys, you know you can follow us both personally on social media. Myself at JLoganAustin and
At Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. And of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, ring the bell, and stay up to date with everything that we have going on here at Crazy Ant Media.
Yes.
And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear, especially for Mother's Day, right around the corner. So be sure to get your mom that crazy ass gift, man. Be sure to do it. But man, what a great freaking episode. It's been an amazing ride. I mean, the guest interview, just how nonchalant and cool and calm he was. Tommy was such a genuine human being. That's got to be one of my favorite parts. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we have the same favorite part, and that's Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, come on.
Again, we could do a whole episode about it. Like,
super freaking stoked about this movie.
Yes.
Man. It's going to be so good.
Oh, he's the best there is at what he does. And what he does isn't very nice. And we finally get that. We finally get that. Dude, one of my favorite scenes in it is when he puts the gun to his head and he smiles. It's like, go ahead, motherfucker. Exactly. I got an adamantium skull. What the fuck are you going to do? Like, I love it. Dude, I cannot wait for that. Oh.
I know, and I loved your post on social media. I'm going to tell my grandkids this is me and their dad. I'm like, that is so freaking funny.
I may or may not actually have the blue and yellow costume.
That's so funny.
Facts. I do, okay? I do. I have a fucking Wolverine costume. Full body. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll
I
find a
could see
picture
it.
of me in it somewhere at some point, but yeah. No, I fucking had to. I just think about it all the time. That's totally us. I'm the
That
old
is.
grouchy mean man that would rather just fucking gut somebody than talk to him. And you're the young smart mouth. Like I fucking right, we're Wolvie and Deadpool, man.
So funny. It's going to be the perfect movie. I'm super excited.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We are definitely seeing that one together no matter what. No matter
Got
what.
to.
Yeah. No, have to. Have to. There's no fucking way we're not.
Right? That's so funny. That's so funny. And then, of course, it's always a joy when we have the only O that matters.
Of
in the
course.
industry, because we know her. We love her. You guys as well. The one, the only.
Oh, bro!